Hey folks, Wade here again. Hey, I just thought I'd quickly cover some of the tasks that I've done, primarily revolving around the heat restrictor valve right here that I did tonight. This is a butterfly valve right there. First, I'm going to show you a couple things that I've done, both on this upper duct, which is this right here, and I'll show this mounted, how it's going to get mounted to the heat exchanger right here in just a bit. But as you can see, on both of these, I've added some gasket here, just one gasket, and this will mate up to the rubber grommet that's on the main duct. And then that'll, with just a little bit of either RTV or gasket sealer or something like that, it'll seal the hole between the two when I mate them up. Over here, because the gap is just a little bit wider, it's a little bit harder to see. I have one full gasket that goes all the way around, and then a kind of a backward C gasket on top of that, and then with just a little bit of sealant that should seal up the hole, that gap in between the hole. Now, this is the back side of the heat exchanger. So this is the side that'll get mounted against the wall. The air, I'll show you in just a second. You can see this line right here. That is the outline of this right here. But the inlet of fresh air, cool air coming in, goes through the top right here on this slot. And then the cold air goes through the heat exchanger, and then it comes out. It's hard to see, but there is actually one of those slots in the bottom here. It comes through a little bit of a bulb here. That's because I had to narrow this down from the normal 2 inches that most of my ducts are to get this low profile. I had to go 1.5 inches here, so I added a little bit of extra width, so when it comes out, turns the corner. And then this is the outlet, so this is going back into the duct work. So right in here you can see I've kind of cut this area off up here. This is dead space, and right in here you can see the micro that I've put in place as a ramp for the hot air that's coming out of the heat exchanger into the rest of the duct work. This one hole right here coming out of the heat exchanger is literally what warms up the entire aircraft, with the air that goes out of this hole into the duct work, and then to, of course, the vents throughout the aircraft. Now I'm going to flip this over. This is the side that will be facing the guy in back, gal in back. This is the inboard side. This side right here is the aft side. This is the forward side. That slant right there matches the back seat, or the back of the seat, I should say, of the pilot seat. So with this right here, I'm going to show you. I'm going to turn this around. This will slide on, and this is how this will get mounted. That'll slide on basically like that, and that's how it'll look pretty much when it's mounted. Now you can see the butterfly valve in there. I'm going to go ahead and actuate that. You can see it twisting. So I put the lever assembly on the outboard side to keep it away from the leg or feet or snagging anything that the like luggage or baggage or anything that the passenger might have. So this, because the duct work is about as big as my hand, approximately right here, also following the back of the seat, there's only just a little bit of a space that I have for this lever right aft of the ductwork, so that the cabling will actually attach just over the top of the duct with a little bolt attachment here on the lever. But as you can see, the heater or the heat restrictor valve, which this technically is, what this does is when this is closed, if the engine oil, which goes through the heat exchanger, hasn't warmed up all the way, then what I can do is I can leave this valve closed. Otherwise, cold air is going to rush in from the outside because this is a ram air system. It'll rush in, go through the cold heat exchanger, and then just blow cold air throughout the cabin, which of course if it's cold you don't want that to happen. So I can leave this valve closed until I know that the engine is warmed up, and then I can open it, and that allows the fresh air to come in through this upper hole here from another valve that you've probably seen on my website, the first valve in the system. This is technically, I would say, the second valve in the system. But if I open this up, once the heat exchanger oil is warm, then it lets the air flow through this duct here, through the heat exchanger, out this duct back into the, or out this hole back into the duct work. Here is the butterfly valve inside. I'll try to get a shot of that actuating. Now, you may note that there are two countersunk screws in there. You might think that's a little strange considering that that is a flat surface. Well, the problem is I just spent about another half an hour to 45 minutes drilling out a normal screw that I put in there. This thing has been a real pain in the butt, and so for right now I'm leaving those screws in until I can buy some other ones. So we'll see how that goes. But you can see that this side right here, that is curved to match the curvature of the top of the heat exchanger. So it may not be completely airtight. That's okay. Yeah, as long as you know it's getting about 90% of the air, we're good. It's just restricting the air and keeping the vast majority of the cold air coming in. So again, this fits right on top here, and this is that would be, of course this is upside down, but that's closed, keeps the air coming in from going into the heat exchanger. Now another thing that I can do, if you can follow me on this, is if I want to shut off all the air completely, I can open the valve that cuts off the fresh air and then diverts the air coming in from the ram inlet into the aircraft. It diverts that air into the heat exchanger. But then what I do is I just leave this valve closed, and for the most part that just shuts off all the air coming into the aircraft if for whatever reason I want to stop any air from coming in, any outside air from coming into the aircraft. So that's kind of my on-off. It's a roundabout way because normally I'll have either fresh air or hot air as far as heat going either as far as heat, of course, through the heat exchanger, or bypassing it for fresh air. Again, so this is the heat exchanger's heat restrictor valve, which is a butterfly valve, and you'll see that's how it pretty much operates. So that's it. So I will, within the next couple days, I'll probably do a video as far as from the pilot seat back on the my oil heat system, and then of course the fresh air duct work. But I'm going to go ahead and sign off. Thanks for watching. Take care. Cheers.